Sup shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Woody as part of their custom monthly music review. The track that we're going to be checking out today is from an act called Yui, off of their album I Loved Yesterday, titled My Generation. And if we switch over to here, this track is on Spotify. It's got quite a bit of love, 1.3 mil plays is pretty good, and a decent amount of love for a few of the other tracks as well. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish. I'm going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, excellent. Excellent work with those guitar parts, man. It's sensational, Oh, and the vocals are nice and resonant as well. Really tight rhythm playing those guitar parts. Yeah, nice development here with the motif, the different guitar parts on the left and right alongside the bass and the drums and the vocals. She got a great vocal range for this type of music. She's sitting right on top of the rest of those other instruments. Yeah, she's got a great sort of confidence, charm, and swagger to the way she sings. It sounds really authentic and genuine as well, lots of experience in the mic. And I also noticed a little guitar layer that was kind of singing over to here, and I was kind of going insane because I was like, this is a bright guitar on this side, but there's like a less bright one on that side, and it kind of goes, oh, there's where it is. So we're playing around with expectations and the studio production side as well. Great work with the drums as well. A little fill at the end was charming, nice and tight. No filler, man, whatsoever. It's got a really great, interesting set. Those lead guitars that came in as well, testament to the understanding of composition and arrangement. To have that lead like come in a similar vocal range to her is a cool response. Great dynamic range as well. A little bit more sort of chilled out in the verse part than it was in the chorus. I love in those clean sort of steel string chords on the left and right of the side as well. A little bit of, I think it was a -7 flat 5 or something they have for the last transitional chord. It was gorgeous, man. Nice and colorful, interesting. There's a bit of tension there, but it's not in your face or too much as well because of a lack of distortion there. If we have distortion, it's more melody based or more focused on like sort of power chords as well. It's a great balance, a great equilibrium found. Little sub layer, bluesy riff going on as well. Lots to appreciate. Great solo section here. Fantastic placing for it. Placement, should I say. It's got an alt rock, sort of punk rock aesthetic from that point in time. I love the bass resonance there with the pianos, I suppose, or something like that at the end. Yeah, it was a great choice there. You know, really classy, having that sort of like cleanish interlude. Then ba 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 ba. You know, it's great stuff, man. There's a lot to appreciate about this track. Good job, Woody. Good pick. Oh, that was a shift in the phrasing of it. Straying away from the root note. Classy. Yeah, nice little bit of, I don't know if that's a tube scream or like just a natural sort of distortion or overdrive that got on her amp, but it's a great choice there, man. Great choice. I think I can see a Telecaster that she's using in that album art there, you know. So that's the kind of guitar that'll give you that tone. Because this is effectively the conclusion of my review of Yui's, if I'm not mistaken, Yui's. I loved yesterday. It's the album. My Generation. What do I think the song is about? I'm not sure. I can't understand the language, but that's fine. I don't know. It sounds kind of upbeat. So I suppose maybe when we talk about My Generation, we're discussing a hope for the future. That my generation is we're going to go somewhere, and you know, maybe things are looking the brighter future or something like that. I like that sort of general positivity if that is the case. I think when people talk about their generation, especially nowadays, sometimes the general consensus is that people are kind of screwed, that the world is a bit of a scary place. But 2008 was a different time, you know. It was before a lot of the heavy sort of social media use came in, you know. And there weren't great things occurring in 2008, but also I would argue that it was obviously, you know, 10 years, 12 years before coronavirus and everything like that, you know. Things are a little bit less scary. So, you know, maybe there's some hope for the future there. The vocals from Yui were absolutely sensational. Great, phenomenal vocalist, comfortable in her range. Really suits the style of music that she's making there. Really present in the mix. Great use of head and chest voice there, you know, comfortable going between them. A little bit of ornamentation and elaboration on some of those melodies, but effectively I think she understood exactly the kind of melodic sequences she wanted to put forward, those hook lines. She absolutely smashed them, you know. Little bits of held notes, kind of stuttering, you know, that kind of stuff there as well. It exudes confidence, and it's clear that this is a singer who deserves the success that she's had. The motif behind it with the guitars, bass, drums, and different guitar layers, and maybe some piano and other elements there, were sensational. It was all we needed for this track. We didn't need to sugarcoat it with a whole bunch or over develop it with a whole bunch of different parts of the arrangement there. We simply had a few different distinct driving parts like the verses, and like maybe there's a bridge section there, but definitely a chorus, obviously. The solo sections and the interlude parts, you know, but they were great. You know, there was constant movement. We never sort of slowed down or decided to try to sort of artificially change the pace. You know, when I hear this track, I think, what could we possibly have done differently to make it better? And I don't really know. I think that in actuality, we have a situation with My Generation where this is one of the best first impressions I've had in quite a while. Even though I don't know what the song is about, I want to hear more of her stuff, and it's great to see that she's playing guitar, and I know this probably seems kind of crappy, but I don't see enough female guitarists who do solos and stuff. I'm really glad that Yui played the guitar. I'm assuming she did. If she didn't, that's okay. But if she did, that's awesome. That's really cool. And that makes me very happy because it encourages ladies, young girls and young women to do it. Because when I was growing up, there weren't nearly as many lady guitarists as they are now in those positions where they were doing rock and metal and stuff. And now we have a whole bunch of them, and they're friggin' ridiculous. And it's so cool because, you know, guitar is, and I'm not saying there weren't female guitarists before Yui, obviously. To have solos and actual lead sections and be confident enough to go shred on stage, I mean, if that's the case, that's absolutely dope, and it makes me very happy. And it's testament to the rest of the band behind her. I'm not sure if she played the other instruments, but just it was absolutely incredible. The chemistry between the bassist and drummer and the way they played together for those various sections and a little bits of extra articulation like the sub-layers, the lead parts and the verses. And how they managed to meet her intensity relative to what she was singing and saying as well, you know. It was a really great emotional, authentic performance from Yui, and the instruments knew how to sort of come down to a level and then, oh, great, we have my Natalie panels being real dicks at the moment. That's always fun. But ultimately, honestly, there was not a single note out of place. Clearly proficient musicians who knew their parts, knew how to go between, build and forward appropriately with the dynamic range. And ultimately, there was absolutely no filler in this track. And that leads me on to the production, recording, mixing and mastering, which is absolutely sensational. Again, you had all this effort put into the vocals, the story behind it that I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sure it's awesome, given the rest of this is awesome. The motif, the structure, the arrangement. But then also you just have the quality of the vocals, which are recorded professionally, it sounds like it was a bigger studio they went to who really knew what they were doing in that part of things. The rest of the other instruments were recorded, mixed and mastered really well. Lovely sort of crisp, clear sort of tones there. Nice bit of compression on those drum parts to kind of balance them out with everything else. Things sounded nicely leveled. Things were nice and wide in the stereo field, and it's also, again, there was a bit of automation with the panning of the guitars going that way and stuff in the chorus, which I really enjoyed. Playing with expectations, having fun and being creative, really cool. There were minimalist effects changes placed on the vocals. Yui could just sing. And as well as that, the rest of the instruments sounded nice and clear and sort of organic and analog, and it was beautiful. And then finally, just a general sort of limiting compression on the track alongside a lack of resonances in the frequency spectrum across the track leads me to believe that this is a very professionally produced track, and it's a very great, it's a really good positive first impression to you, and I've got to thank Woody for their pick for today's ESP Patrons video, because this is my review of Yui's My Generation off of the I Loved Yesterday album. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do go show Yui some love via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review, or in the next ESP Patrons video. Spartans out.